I lost. The deep voice seemed to carry some kind of magic. As soon as it sounded, the entire crowd outside the arena erupted in roars, with continuous expressions of astonishment filling the air. Even the mighty Heavenly Fox Demon Commander, at the half-step 8-star Do Xian level, had been defeated in such a short time by someone who was only at the early 7-star Do Xian level. This left countless demonic beasts present deeply shocked. Unfortunately, they had witnessed the battle firsthand, forcing them to acknowledge its authenticity. After a brief pause, the gazes of many powerful figures turned towards Xiao with a mix of awe. Did he really win? Outside the arena, the Wolf General and Horned Demon Elder stared blankly at Xiao's figure, murmuring in disbelief. The Demon Elder had only told Xiao to give it a try, but no one expected him to actually succeed. Now, Xiao was one of the demon commanders, and soon he would lead the army of the nation of 10,000 demons into the ancient battlefield. The title of Demon Commander carried great significance. Yes, he won. Moreover, this guy even bears the mark of a Dragon Clan king, and has trained his soul power. Truly astonishing, said the Demon King of 10,000 demons, watching Xiao's figure with lingering amazement and smiling. I also feel that this guy didn't use his full strength. Demon Elder, arrange for Su Xiao to come over 3 days from now. Let him be the one to test Su Xiao. I have other matters to attend to. You all handle things here for the next few days. By the way, feel free to give Xiao some rewards. After a moment, the Demon King of 10,000 demons left with those words, his intention quite clear. He was in a hurry, clearly dealing with some urgent matter. This guy, such terrifying power. At this moment, even the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander was somewhat shocked, muttering to himself. As he looked at Xiao, his body slightly relaxed. Weiqi extended her hand toward him, and for a moment, he hesitated. Forget it. A loss is a loss. You really are hiding your true strength. After a moment of silence, the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander placed his hand on Xiao's, laughing in a rather carefree manner. Although he had lost, Xiao's sudden withdrawal of the final strike and the friendly gesture of extending his hand had clearly earned him a lot of goodwill from the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander. After all, demonic beasts respected strength, and Xiao's outstanding abilities in both strength and character made him a worthy opponent. The Heavenly Fox Demon Commander could accept his defeat. It was just luck. By the way, what level of power is Su Xiao at? Xiao asked lightly, supporting the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander as he spoke. Su Xiao's power was far beyond the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander's level. There was still some time before the most intense battle, and Xiao had to quickly improve himself and gather intelligence. Very strong. I once fought him a few days ago when I became a Demon Commander. Although he's only at the early 8-star Do Xian level, I couldn't last 3 rounds before losing. His power is extremely strange and eerie. Even facing him head-on, I felt a shiver in my heart. At this point, the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander paused, his eyes flashing with rare helplessness. I see. Xiao nodded slowly upon hearing this. Lord Xiao, the battle today is over. 3 days later, we will arrange for you to fight with Lord Su Xiao. Please return to your residence. After a moment, once Xiao and the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander had separated, the Wolf General approached Xiao with respect and spoke. As for the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander, he still held the title of Demon Commander, but now he was simply ranked last among the 3 newly appointed Demon Commanders. Yes. By the way, is there any large-scale pill auction or anything similar here? Xiao nodded, and then asked the Wolf General, Lord, is there something you need to purchase? As a Demon Commander, you have the right to select any herbs or pills from the auction that suit your needs, with the nation of 10,000 demons covering the costs. This is also a reward from the state for military leaders. The Wolf General patiently explained. Such a good deal? Xiao's heart lifted upon hearing this. Xiao was well aware that his victory over the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander had a great deal of luck involved. Right now, what Xiao lacked the most were Do skills and attack methods. Techniques like the Heavenly King Seal were not enough to deliver a fatal blow at his current level. At the 7-star Do Xian level, he needed true Sacred Class Do skills. As for the 8-star Docian level, that was the level at which one could control immortal arts. Battles at that level would be earth-shattering. To face the even stronger Xiao, Xiao Yin would need some trump cards. With his soul power and dragon god transformation already exposed, he was left with little else, perhaps only his spiritual power and sacred flame power. It made him feel somewhat helpless. He certainly couldn't expose his wood and thunder attributes here. That would put him in an even worse position. Please follow me, Lord. The monster realm is vast, and as such, the auction house is located on a bustling street in the city. However, what's surprising is that while the front door of the auction house sees a constant flow of people, the back door remains completely deserted. Even at the grand back entrance of the building, rows of demon soldiers stand guard, seemingly on alert for something. Demon Commander. Wolf General. The Wolf General, who had just arrived with Xiao Yin, was immediately greeted by a few guards with sharp auras, who bowed respectfully. We've come to the auction house to purchase a few items. Is President Su here? The Wolf General nodded slightly, his voice carrying the commanding pressure unique to military personnel. President Su seems to be in the reception room, hosting a distinguished guest. Please, follow me, lords. As the demon guard spoke, Xiao Yin and the Wolf General followed him into the inner part of the auction house. The auction hall was enormous, and at that moment, the place was bustling with activity, clearly in the middle of several auctions. Inside the auction house's reception area, a lavishly decorated hall gleamed with golden and jade elements. The walls were made from countless pieces of moon-white jade, exuding a tranquil and refreshing aura, signaling that this was a space meant to receive esteemed guests. Demon Commander Su Xiao's request really puts us in a difficult position, a voice said, breaking the silence in the hall. Two figures stood inside. One was a middle-aged man surrounded by green energy, his cold gaze fixed on the man in black standing across from him. The figure in black was entirely covered in his robes, with only his neck exposed. This was none other than the newly appointed Demon Commander, Su Xiao, a figure in the early stage of the 8-star Docian. President Su should be a reasonable and wise individual. Besides, the crystals I'm purchasing are all for preparations to enter the ancient battlefield. I hope you don't misunderstand my intentions, the man in black said lightly, a faint warning tone underlying his words. Su Xiao added with a subtle shift in his voice, preparations for the ancient battlefield? Looks like this Su Xiao has some serious issues, President Su muttered with a narrowed smile, not responding immediately. Su Xiao had come to purchase a special crystal known as the Evil Crystal Demon Block. Normally, there would be no problem with such a request. However, the issue was with the crystal's effect. It could absorb evil energy or dark magic, temporarily opening a narrow rift to enter dangerous, evil places. And considering the existence of the demon-suppressing prison in the ancient battlefield, Su Xiao's true intentions were slowly becoming clearer. Isn't that Demon Commander Su Xiao? Long time no see, came a cheerful voice, breaking the tense atmosphere. It was none other than Xiao Yin and the Wolf General. Xiao Yin? President Su couldn't help but frown as he looked at the two figures approaching. His gaze then shifted to the black-robed Su Xiao, sensing the heavy tension between them. An unmistakable hostility, as though the two had some deep-seated grudge. It felt like the air was filled with the stench of vengeance, as if there was something personal between them. The aura around you is still as unpleasant as ever. Su Xiao slowly stood up, speaking in a mocking tone. He clearly recognized Xiao Yan's true identity at first glance. Your aura is as insufferable as always, though I'm a little surprised that your Soul Hall's minions have extended their reach to here. Quite bold of you, Xiao Yan said coldly, his voice carrying an undertone of murderous intent. Su Xiao was from the Soul Hall, and that eerie, cold aura he exuded was something Xiao Yin could recognize from a mile away. Even without trying, he could sense it from tens of thousands of miles away. Su Xiao, on the other hand, was no stranger to Xiao Yan's aura. After all, Xiao Yin frequently appeared on their Soul Hall's wanted list. You're the one behind the events on Tianqing continent, aren't you? Su Xiao's eyes grew colder, and he stood up. A pressure filled the air. The loss of a hall master on Tianqing continent had been a heavy blow to them. The Yellow Hall Master of the Soul Hall. What a pity. Xiao Yin didn't directly respond, but instead spoke with a clear meaning beneath his words. It doesn't matter. Someone like you can be reduced to dust with a flick of my hand. But I do thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be sitting in the Yellow Hall Master's seat. Su Xiao sneered, a cold, ominous glint in his eyes. See you in 3 days. By then, I'll make you wish you could neither live nor die. You can leave all those things you're carrying for now. They'll stay with you a little longer. Su Xiao finished with a chilling, cryptic remark before vanishing like a ghost. After a brief pause, the atmosphere in the hall lightened somewhat. It's an old rivalry, Xiao Yin shook his head and said, because the two of us are sworn enemies. As for the conversation just now, although President Su and the Wolf General were suspicious, they didn't recognize terms like Tianqing Continent or Soul Hall, so they were kept in the dark, completely confused. Naturally, Xiao Yin was able to brush it off for the time being. This Su Xiao seems a bit terrifying. With his strength at the early stage of 8-star Do Xian, he could probably walk all over the entire Doyun continent. After finishing things in the monster realm, I'll have to find Xun'er as soon as possible, or she might be in danger, Xiao Yin thought to himself, silently making up his mind, then muttering aloud. Heh, Lord Demon Commander Xiao Yin truly is talented. Indeed, seeing is believing. Not long after, President Su's sharp eyes flickered with a hint of light, and he turned to Xiao Yin. For some reason, when he looked at Xiao Yin, an aura even more terrifying than Su Xiao's began to emanate. Pure luck, Xiao Yin naturally understood the implication and humbly replied. President Su, please bring out the evil crystal demon block that Su Xiao needs. This is something I also require. Xiao Yin spoke again, clearly aware that anything Su Xiao had his eyes on would not be a simple item. Heh, Lord Demon Commander, please allow me to keep a bit of suspense. This item is quite expensive, and only the head of the Demon Commanders is able to call for it. So please forgive me, President Su said, sounding somewhat apologetic. President Su, no need for such formalities. But what if I need something else? Xiao Yin, instead of pretending to be forceful, casually shifted the topic. What does my lord need? Seeing Xiao Yan's unexpectedly agreeable demeanor, President Su smiled. If Xiao Yin had been as overbearing as Su Xiao, it would have been difficult for him. As a fire attribute user, I would like to borrow some fire attribute Do skills from the auction house, if possible. Xiao Yan's voice became deeper, his tone betraying his eagerness to take advantage of the situation. What level of Do skills does my lord require? President Su frowned slightly, asking. Peak Sacred class, and if there are any immortal arts, that would be even better. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yin smiled at the corners of his mouth. Fire attribute Peak Sacred class Do skills. Please wait a moment, my lord. President Su murmured a few words and slowly withdrew, clearly heading off to search for the skills. With the foundation of the nation of 10,000 demons and the support of the national treasury, the Peak Sacred class Do skills were abundant. Moreover, now that Xiao Yin was the demon commander, he certainly had the right to access them. My lord, there is something I must remind you of. The Wolf General repeatedly scanned the surroundings to make sure no one was listening, and then whispered to Xiao Yin. Speak freely, Xiao Yin said, somewhat surprised, as he couldn't quite grasp the Wolf General's intentions. The rugged demeanor was tinged with an unexpected subtlety. In the monster realm, there is no such thing as right or wrong. Everything is determined by strength. If you win, Su Xiao's life or death will be yours to decide. But if you understand the consequences, the Wolf General said slowly. I understand. So, since we are old rivals, I will naturally handle this properly, Xiao Yin said with a faint smile, his voice cold, revealing a murderous intent without a doubt. An early-stage 8-star Do Xian like Su Xiao was not seen as a significant threat by Xiao Yin. He planned to capture this person and force him to reveal information about the Soul Hall. Moreover, Su Xiao was likely the newly appointed Yellow Hall Master, which meant he had more valuable intelligence. With the monster realm concluding, the real key was the 100-year promise and Xun'er. So Xiao Yin had to plan ahead. My lord, here is what you asked for. The Peak Sacred Class Do skill, Fire Lion's Wild Wave. May you achieve victory. By the way, A word of caution for Lord Xiao. Xiao took a peek sacred class space do skill from me, but I cannot disclose any further details. After speaking, President Su's palm held a beautifully crafted parchment scroll, which stood silently. The scroll seemed to radiate a terrifying warmth, clearly a fire attribute do skill, a peak sacred class technique. Once again, thank you both, Xiao said with a smile as he grasped the scroll in his palm. Let's go. There are 3 days left. What kind of legend will this guy write in those 3 days? The Wolf General and President Su exchanged looks as they watched Xiao leave. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this guy is more complicated than he seems. Let's wait and see, President Su replied slowly with a smile. Meanwhile, for the next 3 days, Xiao remained in seclusion, seemingly studying the space do skill. As for Xiao, he too stayed in isolation, using his sacred flame and familiarity with fire attributes to refine the technique, solidifying his strength. The battle situation was tense, and the Demon King of 10,000 demons slowly disappeared, seemingly heading off to investigate something. What he was investigating, however, turned out to be related to the extraterritorial evil clan and the demon-suppressing prison in the ancient battlefield. The battle 3 days later also slowly approached. The battle between the 8-star Docian Su Xiao and the 7-star Docian Xiao is really something to look forward to. At this moment, countless demonic beasts gathered in the martial arena, their eyes burning with excitement. It was clear they were eagerly anticipating the battle between the two. Su Xiao had already arrived first, standing slightly upright in a dim area, his gaze indifferent as he observed his surroundings. Meanwhile, other figures like the Horned Demon Elder and the Wolf General slowly arrived. Why hasn't Lord Xiao arrived yet? After scanning the area, the Wolf General spoke in concern. Could it be that he was delayed practicing do skills? But at this level of battle, even I wouldn't be delayed. At this moment, the Horned Demon Elder muttered while looking at Su Xiao beside him. Horned Demon Elder, should we announce the start? After a brief pause, Su Xiao coldly spoke, his voice tinged with a hint of contempt. Although the Horned Demon Elder wasn't particularly strong, his intelligence was quite high, making him an elder figure within the nation of 10,000 demons. We still need a bit more time, don't rush. The Horned Demon Elder responded coldly. After another period of silence, still no movement. It should be starting now? As the time reached its limit, Su Xiao growled. I announce. The Horned Elder frowned and was about to speak when a trembling sound from the surrounding void followed by a faint spatial whirlpool appeared. Then, Xiao figure emerged. Lord Xiao. As soon as Xiao appeared, the atmosphere in the martial arena stirred. The aura on this guy seems a lot stronger than it was 3 days ago. From a hidden corner, the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander stepped forward and muttered as he watched Xiao. Only after fighting Xiao did he realize the terrifying power hidden within him that sent chills down his spine. Since you're here, let's begin. The Horned Elder said with solemnity, and the battle between the two slowly unfolded. Whoosh! With a sound, both Xiao and Su Xiao entered the mountains within the arena. This battle was unlike any previous one, as the area was now an active volcanic region. The terrifying temperatures and the ever-threatening possibility of volcanic eruptions greatly enhanced Xiao's strength. Wolf General, now that Su Xiao has left his mansion, go check it out. His identity seems suspicious. Yes. The higher-ups murmured. I didn't expect you to be in such a rush to deliver yourself to death. Since that's the case, I'll take everything on you without hesitation. As soon as they entered the volcanic mountains, Su Xiao spoke coldly, the faintest smile curling at the corners of his mouth, resembling a cold-blooded killer. His aura alone was enough to make one's heart freeze. Your soul haul is truly interesting. The last person who said that has already been wiped out by my hand. If you want to take what's mine, you'll have to see if you have the ability. Xiao responded with a calm smile, his expression full of composure. Then, Skybind Hand. Seeing Xiao's carefree smile, Su Xiao snorted coldly. With a giant step, his body disappeared into the void, and then a dark, eerie silver light shot toward Xiao. With Su Xiao's terrifying attack, The sky above the volcanic mountains slightly exploded, and cracks formed in the void, reminiscent of a brutal beast charging toward Xiao, exuding the same destructive fury. Whoosh! Dragon God transformation? Seeing Su Xiao's terrifying attack, Xiao snorted, and dragon scales covered his arm. Then, with the activation of the Bashia's mark, an ancient and supreme power erupted from him. Die! In an instant, Su Xiao's attack reached Xiao. He raised his palm lightly, and a silver space-destroying force surged toward him. Come on! Xiao lips curled into a grin, and his eyes turned sharp. His arm, glowing with dark energy, surged forward with a dazzling force, directly striking towards Su Xiao. Crack, crack! A series of loud, cracking sounds rang out, followed by space fractures that spread like a spiderweb for miles behind them. Even because the two immediately employed such powerful techniques, countless spaces within the entire volcanic mountain range directly exploded, and the intense, angry tension was vented outward. Boom! The figures of the ghostly light and the silver figure seemed completely unaware of the situation in the volcanic mountain range. Intense collisions erupted one after another, and for a time, their close combat was so fierce that neither side could gain the upper hand. These two guys. Outside the battlefield, the Heavenly Fox Demon Commander watched as Xiao attacks were brutal and ruthless, while Su Xiao's strikes were exceptionally crafty. He couldn't help but mutter. Within the volcanic mountain range, the two figures moved rapidly. Each time they passed through an area, whether it was space or the mountains, it was left in a state of disarray. Countless trees and rocks shattered into dust by the aftershocks of their battle. Evenly matched, what terrifying opponents, the horned demon elder said, watching Xiao figure. The shock in his heart lingered. A 7-star Do Xian at the early stage was able to directly fight against an 8-star Do Xian at the early stage. Such courage was truly admirable. Kid, it seems you do have some hidden strength, Su Xiao said from above the volcanic cliffs. His silver spatial power flickered around him as he squinted at Xiao, a smile on his face. He hadn't expected Xiao early stage 7-star Do Xian strength to be so close to his own. No wonder so many powerful individuals sent by the Soul Hall had been defeated by this guy. The newly appointed Yellow Hall Master. Huh? Xiao, however, didn't pay much attention. His blood boiled, and with his early stage 7-star Do Xian strength, though it was incredibly taxing, it made all the accumulated power within his body surge with excitement. No matter the outcome of this battle, the aftermath would thoroughly clear up any lingering effects, and once he entered the ancient battlefield, perhaps a great opportunity awaited him. Fine, you deserve my full power. Go ahead and use your full strength. Let me show you, an insignificant ant, what it truly means to be a top-tier member of the Soul Hall. Prepare to face death. Swish. At that moment, Su Xiao's black robe fluttered, and countless eerie black energies spread like ghostly miasma, enveloping the entire volcanic mountain range. This transformed the area into a truly sinister furnace, and the onlookers outside had their vision obscured by the sudden occurrence. In an instant, the entire volcanic mountain range was covered by Su Xiao's domain. A cold, deathly aura slowly began to fill the air within this dark furnace. Come. Looking at the terrifying appearance of Su Xiao, Xiao also sneered coldly. The volcanic mountain range, now saturated with Su Xiao's domain and suffused with numerous eerie, ghostly mists, was entirely obscured from the outside. With this, even if Xiao used the sacred flame, it was entirely justified. This is my domain, called the Thousand Souls Domain. Enjoy it. Suddenly, Su Xiao's black robe vanished, transforming into numerous ghostly blue orbs of energy that completely filled the area. These ghostly blue energy orbs contained restless souls, whose mournful wails and chilling, eerie aura turned the domain into a place filled with spirits and an overwhelming sense of cold darkness. More wandering souls and wild ghosts, as expected of the Soul Hall. However, as he spoke, Xiao aura gradually shifted. An amber-colored flame, like a tattoo, slowly spread from his body, lightly enveloping him. His presence now felt as if a blazing sun had emerged, and the many spirits within the domain immediately began to grow wary of him. Indeed, the scent of sacred flame. But this amber-colored sacred flame seems like something that's never been recorded. What's going on? Su Xiao's gaze suddenly grew intense, his cold eyes now flickering with a strange, curious energy. Sacred flame. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Yan's voice rang out, sharp and full of energy, and with the combined forces of Do Qi and sacred flame, his body stood tall like an insurmountable giant. As he did so, the dormant soul clone within his body also began to stir. Come down here. Thousand souls devouring body. Su Xiao sneered coldly, slowly raising his hand. A dark, pitch-black ball of energy shot toward Xiao Yan. At the same time, the numerous spirits in the domain seemed to be drawn by the energy, following the black orb and charging towards Xiao Yan with savage intent. The scene was as though Xiao Yan was being locked onto by countless pairs of ghostly eyes, and a chill slowly crept up from his heart. Bloom. Xiao Yan smiled faintly in response, then his eyes turned amber. Boom. The ominous black aura, as if led by countless vengeful spirits, suddenly collided with Xiao Yan's amber wall, releasing a series of sharp, scraping sounds. Kid die. Seeing Xiao Yan barely resist his attack with such effort, Su Xiao's figure slithered like a ghost and, in the blink of an eye, appeared behind Xiao Yan. A withered palm stretched out from beneath his black robe, and a ball of silver spatial power slowly unfurled. Spatial law, strangle. Without pause, Su Xiao raised his palm, unleashing a brilliant silver spatial force directly toward Xiao Yan, who was just within reach, slamming down with fierce intent. Thud. Su Xiao's attack hit Xiao Yan directly, but strangely, no damage occurred. Instead, Xiao Yan's body began to behave oddly, his skin and expression twisting into something unrecognizable. Zitzi. Just as Su Xiao was puzzled, Xiao Yan's body was surrounded by lightning and flames, like an ancient, unyielding giant of bronze and iron. The ancient ruler on his arm emitted a strange glow, while the countless vengeful spirits and spatial force slowly dissipated upon contact with his body. Boom, boom, boom. After a moment, loud explosions erupted from the distant domain. That was his spatial stranglehold power. But wasn't it aimed at Xiao Yan? How could it have shifted its target? A mere early 7-star Docian like Xiao Yan, no matter how talented, could never change the target of his spatial power. I'll send you a great gift. Roar, roar, roar. Su Xiao hesitated, floating in the void, still unsure of what was happening. Suddenly, the space around him wriggled again, and another figure identical to Xiao Yan appeared before him. However, this Xiao Yan was dripping with amber-colored molten lava, and beneath him, a fierce, massive fire lion, with eyes locked onto Su Xiao, exuded an aura of power that made him feel like prey being hunted. It felt as if he was locked onto and regarded as food, easily within its grasp. With the added power of the sacred flame, this fire lion's combat strength could not be underestimated. Boom. With a roar, the fire lion raised its front paw in pride, its amber-colored fur shimmering with divine and terrifying energy, and swiped towards Su Xiao. Z. A beam of amber light, like a dawn of light, shot out from the lion's paw, tearing through the void and whistling towards Su Xiao. Trivial tricks. Su Xiao sneered coldly, and immediately, the ghostly spirits in his domain surged forward, forming a thick soul wall in front of him. Who? The amber beam collided with the soul wall, unleashing ghastly wails, as these spirits shattered instantly when faced with an attack based on sacred flame. Su Xiao, you are guilty beyond measure. Face justice. As Xiao Yan's attack surged, a cold and harsh voice echoed. It was the voice of the Horned Elder and others. Has it been discovered? Su Xiao shook his head slightly. Although he had hidden his tracks well, there was still a great deal of evidence left in his mansion. Su Xiao, accept your punishment. Xiao Yan spoke slowly, his body glowing with amber's sacred flame, and the fire lion watching him like a hawk, a boundless battle intent radiating from him. Indeed troublesome, but let's try this. Spatial prism lock? Seeing Xiao Yan's fierce methods, Su Xiao no longer held back, revealing his early 8-star Do Xian power. He charged forward with overwhelming force. Not good. Xiao Yan was alarmed as the fleeting silver light appeared, and his figure swiftly retreated. Roar! 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 Seeing the danger to Xiao Yan, the fire lion's amber flames flared up, and a massive wave of fire surged from its body, rushing towards Su Xiao. Crack! Xiao Yan, in an attempt to control the fire lion, unleashed the fire lion's madness, but he forgot about Su Xiao's attack. He was struck lightly, his body jolting as if electrocuted, and froze stiff in the domain. Get away from me! On the other side, Xiao Lei, the sole clone of the Thunderfire King, saw this and instinctively wielded the ancient ruler of heavenly flames, attacking Su Xiao. Damn! I'll spare you this time. Next time, I'll make sure to torture you to death. See you at the ancient battlefield. A sinister voice echoed throughout the domain, and Su Xiao's figure shook abruptly, transforming into black mist that scattered into the void, disappearing without a trace. This time, Xiao Yan had fallen into his spatial prism, and he would likely be trapped in the alternate dimension forever. This time, he had one. Crack! As Su Xiao vanished, the Horned Elder and others broke through the domain and entered from the outside. What's going on? The group had just broken through the domain when they saw two versions of Xiao Yan, alongside countless fading ghostly figures, and felt deeply shocked. What on earth is happening? The Horned Demon Elder, the Wolf General, and several burly high-ranking officials slowly entered, observing the unmoving Xiao Yan and the Lei Hua Yan Wang, Thunderfire King of Hell, who had taken over Xiao Lei, unable to contain their questions. I am his sole clone. Please find him a quiet training room. He's entered a special state and can only heal himself now. Xiao Lei shook his head slightly, then with a flicker, returned to Xiao Yan's body. Although he was a soul clone, only the main body could resist something like this. If Xiao Yan couldn't resist, even his existence might eventually fade away. My lord, about Su Xiao. At this moment, the other high-ranking officials couldn't help but murmur. Xiao Yan is now the recently promoted top demon commander. Let's first get him back and find him a quiet training room. As for Su Xiao, he's secretly connected with two other powerful beings, attempting to harm our army in the nation of 10,000 demons. The next time we meet him, we will surely make him pay. Additionally, we must conduct a thorough investigation of all officials and generals within the army. Once the Demon King and Xiao Yan awaken, it's time to enter the ancient battlefield. A stream of orders flowed systematically from the Horned Demon Elder's mouth. Understood. The gathered demonic beasts nodded. Meanwhile, the others escorted Xiao Yan to a quiet training room, stationed guards to keep watch, and then returned to their tasks. The Horned Demon Elder was unsure of Xiao Yan's current state and could only wait for the Demon King's return. Inside the quiet training room, the scent of agarwood permeated the air, but at this moment, Xiao Yan stood there like a living corpse, devoid of any vitality. Buzz. At this time, Xiao Yan's spirit felt unanchored, as if he had fallen into a stupor or been stripped of something essential. This was clearly linked to the final moments of his battle with Su Xiao, where, just before Su Xiao left, he had delivered a particularly strange attack, imbued with a mysterious power. That attack was not fatal, but it had plunged Xiao Yan's soul power into a bizarre state, as though it had detached from him and drifted elsewhere. It seemed that now Xiao Yan's soul was separated from his body due to Su Xiao's attack, with the body still here, but the soul imprisoned in a distant otherworld. Where is this? What's happening? I was just battling Su Xiao in the monster realm. How did I end up here? Xiao Yan's ethereal soul began to move. Yet this void seemed endless, filled with a sense of danger that left Xiao Yan extremely uneasy. This place resembled a long corridor, and no matter how much Xiao Yan murmured, his voice echoed back to him, with nothing else responding. I can't stay here. I must break out. Suddenly, after a moment of hesitation, Xiao Yan seemed to realize something. He called out urgently, and immediately, his whole being surged with soul power. This strange dimension had previously consumed the demon fruit, when Xiao Yin had entered it once before, but he had had guidance back then. Now, though, boom! With a sound, the invisible soul form exploded in the void, and the sensation of fragmentation swept through the entire space. Soon after, subtle changes began to unfold in the dark void. The emptiness gradually transformed into various angular mirrors. The mirrors gleamed pristine white, seemingly ordinary, yet this mundane aura sent a chill down Xiao Yan's spine. If he couldn't find a way to break free, he would likely be eternally imprisoned here. What is this? Unmoved, Xiao Yan approached one of the angular mirrors, seemingly searching for clues. Brother Xiao Yan, Xun'er is suffering greatly in the ancient clan. I can't hold on any longer. In the mirror stood a woman so stunning that the world would pale in comparison, tears streaming from her eyes as she stood atop a peak in the ancient clan, her voice filled with a determination that pierced the heart. Xun'er, wait for me, At that moment, Xiao Yan's voice became thick with emotion. The figure in the mirror was the one he had missed dearly. Xiao Yan, hurry and escape. Moments later, another mirror drew closer to him. Within it stood the enchanting figure of Kai Lin, but in front of her loomed several shadowy figures radiating evil energy. Their power could only belong to the extraterritorial evil clan, and the situation appeared exceedingly perilous. Kai Lin, Xiao Yan, you must survive. A moment later, the third prism floated back to Xiao Yan's side. Inside the prism, a figure with azure blue hair stood gracefully, and a voice, light and joyful, resonated, bringing delight to the heart. Yet, in her beautiful eyes, there was an unmistakable expression of pride, as if she welcomed death with open arms. She stood on top of a 100-foot city wall, and after speaking, her body transformed into a blue ethereal bird, diving toward the vast evil abyss outside the city wall. The scene was like jumping alone into the depths of hell. Ing. In that moment, Xiao Yan's throat tightened, and his pupils turned crimson as he couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. Xiao Yan. The fourth prism also slowly approached. Enough. Before the fourth prism's image could appear, Xiao Yan's cold gaze snapped, and he suddenly roared. At that moment, countless prisms began to tremble gently. Vroom, vroom. At this moment, on Xiao Yan's outer body, the dim imperial flame ring flickered again, emitting red light that circled around his body. And that faint red glow seemed to form the faintest Xiao character, oddly mysterious. What is this? After a few minutes, inside the endless prism space, a red light gate slowly emerged. Xiao Yan stared at the gate, murmuring in confusion. Come back. Just as Xiao Yan was wondering, an ancient voice, like a sleeping giant dragon awakening, slowly echoed. This voice was neither from the Golden Dragon King nor from any powerful figure Xiao Yan had known before, but it filled Xiao Yan with an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Trying to run? SSSSS. As the light gate and the voice appeared, a sinister, eerie sound echoed through the space. Countless prisms morphed into restless souls and ghosts, charging toward Xiao Yan. Thud. Without hesitation, Xiao Yan turned and leaped into the light gate. Ah! Damn Xiao clan monster. He actually left some treasure for Xiao Yan. Wait, the protector of the Xiao clan's hiding place. We'll find it soon, and then? In another dimension, Su Xiao's chilling voice echoed. In the monster realm. Who? In the training room, Xiao Yan's soul body had just returned, and he was panting heavily, completely unaware of the energy released by the imperial flame ring in front of him. What's this? After catching his breath for a moment, Xiao Yan's condition gradually improved. He knew that if it hadn't been for the power of the imperial flame ring just now, he might have been trapped in that alternate dimension forever. Clearly, this new Yellow Hall master of the Soul Hall, in both strength and scheming, was far more powerful than the previous Soul Wuji. Even their spatial attribute cultivation seemed to have reached a whole new level. A moment later, inside Xiao Yan's body, the imperial flame ring lay quietly. However, the imperial flame ring was slowly absorbing Xiao Yan's power. This absorption was so subtle that Xiao Yan didn't even notice it. It seemed that after reaching the 7-star Douxian stage, the resonance with the Imperial Flame Ring became more apparent. If he were to reach the 8-star Douxian, its secrets would naturally unravel on their own. Xiao, next time we meet, everything will be returned to you.